Okay, great. My name is John Sprague. Looking at this challenge, I decided to take a slightly a wider view of it, in the sense that I was trying to create something which would make it easy and at least possible to extend the bookings to resources that went well beyond 3D printers, ultimately into resources that include things like tutors, laptops for loan, and possibly even things like study stations. So the idea is the online bookings are for resources. We have workstations, printers, laptops. Each resource has is designed to have a series of attributes. The attributes then form the basis of a menu. So I say I want a laptop, and it says, okay, this is the kind of laptop you can get. You can have iOS on it, you can have Windows on it, you can have the latest Windows cut-down operating system for a tablet on it. You can have additional things that sometimes go with laptops, like enhanced visual processing and so on. And those are things you can ask for, and then you will automatically be directed to the appropriate resource, the laptop or whatever that has it. It's also intended for usage tracking and record keeping and analysis, and I'll explain a little bit about how I see that working in the future. The other thing is the user interface is oriented specifically towards a smartphone and is intended to be easy to use. The algorithm behind the whole thing is primarily a first come, first serve algorithm. The idea is that rather than ask for a specific time and then have the library staff decide whether you should or should not have it, each person asks for a time. There's a database of times available. The first person to ask for a range of hours gets the first chunk of the hours that they're asking for. The second person gets the second chunk, and so on down the line. That's not ideal. There are better ways to do it, but it's a fairly quick and easy hack. Okay, for the rest of it, this is kind of technical, but this is a hackathon, so I'm assuming I won't be bothering too many people with it. It's end-tier architecture, user interface, web on a smartphone, and authenticating and collecting servlet. That's the thing that talks to the actual library database to find out whether or not you are in good standing at the library, whether you've actually entered a valid Toronto Library card, and whether you are in fact certified for a 3D printer or whatever other resource you're asking for. When we actually go to allocate the resource, it's queued single access. In other words, only one request gets even near the database at a time, and that's to avoid the system allocating the same thing to two different people at the same hours. Okay, and the next stage.
It's been a minute, John.
Oh, sorry. As I said, the interface, smartphone, AJAX XML schema, local calls or SOAP to communicate with the back-end processor, and everything done and the back-end managed with SQL. Because first of all, you can get free SQL databases, and secondly, it's just best for this purpose. Sorry. This is an overview of the schedule and classes, which I would be glad to go into in some detail with anybody who's interested afterwards, but we don't have time to talk about now. Sorry. This is slightly more interesting, the database structure. Basically, a booking connects a person and a resource. There can be many bookings for a single person and many bookings for a single resource. Each booking is associated with the time and so on. The resource is associated with the place it is and the times it's available and the attributes it has. And that's the way the reservation process is I envisaged the reservation process working. The user's smartphone tablet talks to the servlet, it talks to a transaction, the transaction produces a query, the query produces a data manager which matches up the range of hours the user would like to within which the user would like to use the resource, and it automatically spits out the first available time that they can get, that they can be allocated with the resources the library has. It all comes back. The advantage of this system is it's not touched by human hands. It doesn't require administration. Okay, that's it.